Welcome back. It's Politics Today live on Channels Television. We're reaching you from our global headquarters in Lagos. From giving an evaluation of their stewardship, we take a look at perhaps one of the most important things in governance, accountability, the right of the people to know everything its government is doing. I think it's very crucial. Is the Buhari government on the right track? Well, my guest, Mr. Joe Femi Dagunro, policy analyst, and Mr. Kayode Ogundamisi, a political analyst, talking to us from the UK. Mr. Dagunro, one will look at this effort and will think the cross-section of the people that we saw in that room today. Does it give you a sense of the fact that the government is talking to the people?
Well, you see, normally, I think this is the first time there's Minister of Information is organizing something like this. You will discover that Lagos State does this regularly. The Lagos State government does this. This is not, I mean...
But the Lagos government, they've done almost 3 or 4.
Yes.
Since, in less than a year.
Yes, and you now discover that their crowd is more unique, sort of. But I want to know, what is the criteria of putting up this crowd? I would have expected some... industrialists and some of these decision makers to be part of it. I mean, maybe get the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the NASIMA, and all those people that are involved in businesses, and even the local ones as well. But these are missing.
So, the critical stakeholders are not there. That's what you're saying.
To my understanding, yes. When I was looking at that, maybe the camera didn't capture some of these things, and I happened to call some of them. Why are you not there? They said they were not invited. So I don't know why they were not invited. I don't know what will be the next step. But I think the Minister of Information will have learned a lesson from this. Another thing is this: well, you are taking this thing to the grassroots. You have to involve the state government. You have to involve the local government as well. These things are missing. You know, when you come from Abuja and you do this in Lagos and you're going around to other places, you might not really be catching up with the right people, because it's just a one-day thing or a few hours things, and then it is broadcasted on just on one TV channel. So there's a problem here with the network, with the communication, the way that I'm looking at it. And at the same thing, I want to advise that if you are going to some other areas, why wouldn't some people speak the native language? I mean, if you really want to reach out to these people, not everybody speaks English. And then until when, like you said, until when the Jankara woman understands what is going on, until when you say, look, Ejo Egbawa, this is what we are doing. Help us. You know, we want to help you as well. Right. So I think there's still something missing along that line.
The government saying that they realize that in a democratic dispensation, there's need for constant exchange of information between the government and the governed. And they're saying that it's going to happen in 6 geopolitical zones. Kaduna is going to be hosting the Northwest series of it, Maiduguri in Borno State, Northeast, Jos and Plateau for the North Central, Owerri in Imo State for the Southeast, Benin in Edo State for the South, Ibadan in Oyo Southwest. These are 6 centers, but all of that centers are Lagos, Abuja, Kano. So it's going to be in 9 places. They've just started with Lagos. But Mr. Ogundamisi, with what we have seen and the nature of this kind of engagement, it doesn't look something that is very familiar with us here in Nigeria. But seeing this, do you think it's something, initiative that should be taken further, or something that needs to be worked upon?
So it's something that should be encouraged. I mean, anything that would pass the message of government to the people, or any interaction that would give people to ask the right question and is not state managed, is a welcome development for Nigeria. And this happens. In other countries, there are means you can write a letter to your local MP, you can write a letter to the Prime Minister, and you get a reply almost immediately. There is a system here where if you get a certain percentage of signatures to the Prime Minister, he must reply you. So I think it's a good start, but I think we still have a long way to go. This issue about 6 geopolitical zones, and I don't think, if you see, communication is you give and you receive. The government, they do know what the people want, and the people know what the government should deliver. So I think the more they spend time trying to deliver those promises, they wouldn't even need to have a town hall meeting. It will be as crystal clear. Let me give you an example. Take the issue of corruption and security. It's quite clear that Nigerians can see that government is making a lot of effort in the northeast of the country. When you start dealing with, say, cases of the Fulani local conflicts, people will see it. So act more. Let your actions speak, because they speak louder than words. So I think government should I also see that, look, radio communications, the local radio, local programs, there are a lot of indigenous programs across the country in different languages that government can communicate to the people. Those are more effective than, say, a situation where you gather in Lagos in a very comfortable hotel and you re-ask the same messages that we've already read on social media or in the national dailies. It's probably getting a little bit to just waste of public funds. It could be better than what we have now.
Okay, going forward, there's still 8 more centers in this series. But again, if you look at some of the critical things today, the issue of the priority areas for government in terms of his foreign and external policies, issues of security, governance, economy, and the Minister for Foreign Affairs did say that, look, the government knew what he wanted. President Buhari knew what he wanted. That was why he set out the very first few weeks of his assuming office. He visited neighboring countries. These are some of the things that they touched on. The achievements of government in a few days, plugging leakages and a whole lot of that. Would you say that the government realized the situation of the country and is really working hard at it?
Surely. You said it, and like Kakari said, one of the things, if you do something right, people will see it. This is about actions, and when you make real actions and people are feeling the actions, if you said there's going to be, you are going to make sure that in the next few days we'll have fuel. The moment we begin to have fuels in our petrol stations, people will know that this is happening. So if the president came up with an action and he said, listen, what I want to do is just to go around some of these few neighboring countries and come up with this, and we are seeing it, like I said, in the Northeast. This is a fantastic thing. People will begin to see that something is going on, actions are going on. But if even then, you still have to communicate with the people, because the people want to hear from you. Most times, just like the finance minister was speaking at in Washington, and people want to hear from. Not everybody will hear what he's saying in Washington. They want to hear her speak here locally.
Let me show you. I've always kept this in my folder and try as much as possible to make it mobile. I mean, most of the time when we are talking about the APC government's policies and promises, it's the campaign promise of the APC. We always want to flash these so that each time, okay, look at it. One will wonder, if you look at these promises made by the APC when they were coming into government, and some of the things that have been said today, would you say that the government had too much to bite, having given a lot to it's a high up what the expectations of Nigeria? Because a lot of Nigerians are expecting so much, and in terms of deliverables, I mean, can they match the words with action in this sense?
Sure, I've said it before. This is when the campaigns are going on all over the world. This is what I said earlier, that it was just the political campaign audacity of the president to have said, look, there are a couple of guys who will sit down as campaign strategists. They will say, look, this is what the people want to hear. This is what the people want to hear from you, and say this. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the policies or the campaign promises will be fulfilled. And now we are hearing that, listen, we may not be able to fulfill the promises within 6 months, within a year or 2 or 3. So, and I said it earlier in one of the programs, I said, listen, you don't expect all these promises to be fulfilled in the next 4 years. Some of these promises will not be fulfilled in 4 years. Say, for instance, you want to have this social, what's it called, this idea of paying unemployed citizens. You don't have the data of unemployed citizens. So that's number one. You have to gather the data before you think of what to do. So these are the things that they may come up, but not necessarily that it has been achieved.
Let me quickly go to Kayode and get his thoughts on this matter. If you look at the campaign promise that I just flashed it to you now, it's like, do you think those things are realizable? I mean, in the real sense of it, from what we are seeing today, does it look like the government is realizing that it had too much to chew, considering the campaign promises that he made tonight?
So let us be very frank with that. The president threw the APC campaign promise into the dustbin when he realized the challenges he met in government. One of the problems with this government is that the party is speaking on one tone, the president is saying another thing, his spokesperson are saying something different. I think they need to now harmonize and come clean to Nigeria and say, look, on this part we cannot deliver. These are the challenges, and face 3 major challenges. Okay, it's energy, that's power, security, and the economy, and deal with that maybe within the next 2-3 years, and then move to the next stage. No one should think that all those beautiful promises are going to be fulfilled, but the critical ones, that needs to be addressed immediately, the government should just come clean. And look, one of the things is that governments have taken the people for granted. They think when they say things, say it as it is to the people will get angry. No, sometimes Nigerians just want to be told the truth, how difficult things are, and say this is what we can deliver. We've been living without government anyway. We've been providing our own security, our own electricity, our own balls. We are almost ministers in almost all areas.
We've got to go. Many thanks, Mr. Joe Femdangro. Always a pleasure having
Thank you.
And Mr. Kayode Ogundamisi, many thanks for coming on the program. Just before we go, we'd like to give you an update on the Kogi Assembly crisis, where the National Assembly has intervened. The news coming in is that the Attorney General of the Federation has appeared before the National Assembly. You remember that he was summoned by the National Assembly to come and explain its position on the issue of what the law says about all of this. You know that is the nation's #1 legal officer. We'll bring you details on that on the news. Many thanks for being a part of the program. I'm Sean Wakimbale. Bye for now.